Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. I think there are participants who are still spilling in, but we're going to start the session now. So today is the first session of our month-long campaign titled Veterans Victories. So Inclusify is celebrating veterans through this campaign. Now, on every Wednesday, we will come live at 4 o'clock and we'll talk about different issues which veterans face during their transition. We have assembled a number of experts in their own field. Most of them happen to be veterans themselves, and thus they would be sharing their own experiences. Now, here is an opportunity for you guys to post your questions. If you are a veteran yourself, and if you're facing any issue in the transition period, in the transition into a corporate life period, then definitely post your question. Reach us at our through our social media handles, and we will definitely take these questions up in the upcoming sessions. Also, if you know any veteran who is transitioning right now, or you think would require a coach or any sort of advice or could benefit from this panel discussion or the upcoming discussions, we would be happy to see you in our sessions. So hi, by the way, I am Regina Massey, and I am a D&I enthusiast and a storyteller at Inclusify. So today we have Major Sumit Chibber with us. Now, an interesting story I want to share with everybody who is viewing today. So the first time I interacted with Major Sumir was over email. So we decided to connect at 5 p.m. So as soon as the clock struck 5, I picked up my phone and I gave him a call. So the first thing I heard from him was his appreciation for me calling him at exactly 5 p.m. Now, the reason I brought this story up in front of you was, one, I can fairly say that Major Sumit here is a very punctual man, which means if he takes on any task in the corporate world, we can be sure that he's going to meet the deadline, right? He's not going to fault on the deadline. Now, this is a skill which he learned during his military service, and it directly translates into the corporate life. This is one skill which I'm mentioning. There are numerous other skills which definitely every veteran, every person who serves in the services learns, inculcates in their life, which helps them throughout their life, not just in their corporate life. But there still seems to be a miscommunication in the sense that veterans aren't able to translate their own skills in the corporate world using corporate jargons, and the corporates somewhere are not able to realize that these veterans have skills beyond what we can expect. In fact, we stand to learn a lot of things from them. So today we're going to talk about some of these issues, and we're trying to help anyone who's listening today. So we're going to talk about how to prepare for a corporate interview. We're going to talk about how to use corporate jargons. We're also going to deep dive into Major Sumit's story. And be sure to post your questions because we're going to take that towards the end of the session. So Major Sumit, thank you so much for giving us your time, and welcome to the first session of Veteran Victories.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I'm very happy to be here, and it's a pleasure to be here on this particular platform. And I would like to thank all the participants who have taken out time for this particular session.
All right. So another interesting thing, Major Sumit, he has done a lot in his life, and he's a man of multiple talents, if I may say so myself. He was recently the executive vice president HR in Yes Bank, and now he has his own business venture. So during the session, we're going to obviously deep dive into each aspect of his life. Let us start off by the most basic question. What motivated you to join the military in the first place?
I think this question has been asked by many of my colleagues also in corporate, my ex-bosses also. I think last 14 years I've been answering this question. So just to start now, I am the 7th generation of my family who went into the armed forces. So we have a tradition of serving in the army, Air Force, Navy, and other paramilitary forces also. And to be very honest, I'm the third generation, the same battalion which was where my dad was commissioned and my granduncle were commissioned. So I was very, I'd say, fascinated seeing my father in his uniform when I was a kid. So this was one of the reason why I took this as a career after my MBA also. In fact, many of my friends have asked me, in spite of doing your MBA and getting placed through campus placement in one of the corporates, why did you still choose to go in the armed forces? So my answer is this only that first, being from a family which has a tradition of serving for the nation, and secondly, being a third generation in the same regiment and battalion. So that was one of the impetus which really made me join the forces.
Right.
Yeah,
All right. So it's a family legacy which you carried on.
yeah, that's right. That's, in fact, my cousins are still in the armed forces. My uncles are still serving. So probably I'm the only one who's out now after serving 5 years after completing my short service tenure. But that was a good decision. I am not regretting it. So I've seen both the worlds now.
So, out of curiosity, why did you decide to leave?
So, ma'am, it was a very personal reason, nothing to do with the organization or uh, I think one of the best organization, one which can always serve. And I think that was one of the personal reason only. I thought let me also, because like I said that many of my family members are there in the armed forces. So I thought let me venture out and let's see if I can do something outside. So that was the only reason, ma'am.
All right, fair enough. So, when you were transitioning into the corporate life, the first job which you did was in HCL, right?
That's right.
So, can you help us understand how did you prepare for this interview?
So, ma'am, generally in short service, what happened is that after 4.5 years, the army asks you whether you would like to continue or you would like to quit. Right. So you still have 6 months of time to decide upon. And so these 6 months are very crucial for anybody who serves for say now because short service has become for 10 years. So anybody who's serving for 10 years or anybody who's taking a premature retirement after serving for 20 years also. So 6 to 8 months is very crucial when they have to decide in which particular industry they have to go. Right. Because like initially when you started this session, you said that the veterans they have multiple skills.
Yeah.
Right. Now, this is very important that each and every veteran should understand and should do a self-analysis. Which particular skill I'm good into. Some are good in networking, some are good in HR, some are good in admin security, some are good in say business development. So that is something which they have to really work upon in these 6 months. What I did, because I always wanted to be in HR or sales because I have done my MBA before joining the armed forces in marketing and HR. So I started speaking to my MBA friends who were working there in corporate. So I started learning the corporate jargon also. Okay, if I have to make my resume, so suppose if I'm writing as a company commander, I was say I was commanding a troop of 120 odd men. So what does this mean in corporate parlance? So those were the things which I started working upon in those 6 months. Then I did an industry study also, which particular industry I would like to go, whether I would like to go in IT or education sector or travel tourism, whichever. So I thought during that time, I'm talking about 2006, IT and automobiles were on a boom. So I thought these are two industries which I should really consider right now. Because if you are concentrating on too many things, okay, I would like to go in E-logistics also. If I'm going to go in IT also, if I'm going to go in say education sector also. So this creates confusion in your mind. So you're not able to concentrate on one particular thing. So first thing which is very important is the industry. The second thing is the domain where you have to go. I did some certification also while serving in the armed forces, some HR certification because, like I said, those 6 months were very crucial. And in those 6 months only, I made up a mind that I would like to go in HR. To be very candid, those HR certifications did not help me at all. Right? It did not get me a job. The only thing that really helped me that certain HR jargons I was able to learn, which I really fluttered during time of interview also. Because in my resume I've written so much over there. Right, I know this about HR, I know that about HR. I mean, the gentleman who was sitting next to me in HCL, we started because he being a HR, I'll say from the HR background only. So when he started asking me all those questions, and I was really not able to answer those questions. But I was very honest, sir. Yeah, I'm sorry, but I don't know this. So one gyan or experience which he gave me was that never write something on your resume which you are not able to tell also.
Right.
So then he started asking about the questions from the armed forces, which are very comfortable. So I was able to answer those very easily, very comfortably, and I think that was the reason which really helped me in clearing that interview also. So these are two things which I did: my industry study, and secondly domain study, and certain certification, which, like I said, will not really help you, but definitely will let you know what are the things which are going in the corporate world nowadays.
Correct. So you rightly translated how corporate jargons play a very important role, right? Could you help us understand what are some terminologies which veterans would use and corporates would not understand, and that's where the miscommunication happens?
Okay, so like in forces, ma'am, when you are commanding a company, so you are a company commander in that particular appointment. Now, if I'm going to write that I was a company commander in my battalion, so probably the corporate will not able to understand what does company commander means. So the person should write that he or she was a team leader,
Right.
right? As a team leader, he was handling different functions in that particular company or in that particular team. It can be when you're paying salaries to your men, so you are looking after their financial also. So you can write, I've got a financial acumen on that. When you are helping them in say in their training, so you are like you're being a mentor for them. So you
Right.
can always write, I was also taking care of their leadership development or training and mentoring part, right? Or suppose if you are taking care of logistics part, suppose now if you move from one particular location, your battalion move from one location to other location, so there are a whole lot of things which moves along with you. So it's like a logistic chain only what you are taking care of. So it's like a supply chain management thing. So you can always mention, I was moving from one location to other location, I was handling the entire supply chain management or the logistics of this particular unit on this year. So these are certain things that they can mention, ma'am. If they're going to only mention the army language or the defense forces language, many of the corporates will not be able to understand. Generally, what happens is most of if we are seeking a job, so what we do is that either we start looking for references, or we start putting our resumes on portals. It can be Naukri, Monster, or I am Jobs or anything. So whenever a recruiter, because I have been a recruiter also, and whenever a recruiter try to get out a CV, and generally what they see is that they see whether whatever the person is mentioned in their resume, does it matches with the job JD or not, the job description or not. And when they see a recruiter, suppose if a recruiter, if as a recruiter, if I'm not from the armed forces background, if I see all those foreign languages which a veteran mentioned, so probably I'll not be able to see that. I'll not consider that particular resume. So that is very important. So that is the reason I was saying that industry knowledge is very important. Suppose if I have to go and say a logistic or e-commerce industry, I should understand what are the jargons they use. Then I should see, okay, now if these jargons or these particular role or say the domains are there in that particular industry, how these jargons can match with my army experience or army or defense experience. And keeping that in mind, only keeping that thing in mind, that you put the right kind of word which you can easily tell to a recruiter also. This is something which can be done.
Right. So there are two things which I've understood. One, a decision to leave the forces is not a spur of the moment decision. You have
No.
enough time to really plan your transition,
Yes.
right? Which is very beneficial. One, you can really prepare for the interview beforehand, reach out to as many organizations as possible, or maybe do your own Google search and reach out to coaches who can help you, right? And a couple of jargons which you shared with us, for example, when you were saying that you can term yourself as a team leader, which is a very understandable lingo which corporates use. So
Yeah. So, ma'am, other thing what a veteran should do is that networking is very important.
right.
Networking through LinkedIn or through meeting people or through uh, attending these conferences which are happening in say SHRN conferences or military to corporate conferences. It is very important because sometimes what happens is that through portals only or through Google search you will not be able to land yourself in a good job. So 6 month time or 8 month time, whenever you're coming on leave also, suppose you're coming on leave for say 10 days itself. So make sure that at least 7 to 8 days you are going out and meeting people.
Right.
They have their own friends, they have their own relatives who are working in corporate. They should go out and meet them. Whatever is written in the Google, it is all theoretical sometimes.
Yeah.
in order to gain the practical knowledge, it is always better to venture out. First of all, like I said, what they in those in their theory part, what they should do is that they have to understand in which particular industry they want to go. Like I
Right.
said earlier also, then they should start within their only network. They should see whether they have any civilian friends who are working in these industries or not. Whether they have, like, if I talk about myself, now my co-mates are there who've been serving for now like close to 19 years now, and I left army after 5 years. Now I've got around 40, 50 years experience now. Now any of my course want to come out when they are coming on leave, or they can talk whenever they are planning to leave out their courses. They can always give me a call, or there are many of us like this, so they can speak to them also, and then get an idea. That is very important, because
Right.
whatever you're doing through, say, Google search or through certification, or going through those diploma courses, that will help. I'm not saying this will not help. That will definitely help. But till the time you don't go out and meet people, it will not broaden your horizon. So that is very important.
Right. That's perfectly put. All right. Also, by the way, I would like to tell everybody that this is an interactive session. So any question you post, we would be happy to take it up at the end of the session. You can go ahead and post your questions right now. Now, right now, you're telling me about your transition period, and you're telling me all the positive points which you should take for a smooth transition. But I'm sure that you would have faced your own challenges when you were, uh, transitioning yourself. So could you help us understand, or tell us some of the anecdotes which you wanted to share?
So, ma'am, one which I've just shared with you, that I did some certification course, and all those HR jargon I kept on mentioning on my resume, and I
Right.
was not able to even understand what do these jargon means. So whenever I used to go for interview, I was like a, जैसे वो हिंदी में बोलते हैं, रट्टू तोता. So I used to just go through jargon and just used to vomit out everything. And suddenly some other person who's sitting out there, who's much experienced than me, and if he used to ask me any question, he or she used to ask me any question. So obviously I was bemuddled. I was not aware ki, what does this even mean. So first and foremost thing is this only. This was one of the problem which I really faced, and it's through problems only which we learn. So if I can say it was a problem and learning for me. Second thing, ma'am, because that time we were not so much tech savvy as compared. I'm talking about 2006. So there were limited knowledge which I could garner through Google or through my friends, right? So, and I was not very through networking, which I'm talking about, like what I'm saying right now about networking part. I was not very comfortable with networking also during those times, right? Because like I said that after 5 years when I came out of the forces, we were not having that kind of culture where WhatsApp was there, or you were easily able to connect with your friends through through mobile or through WhatsApp or through Facebook. So that was another problem which I faced. The only good part was that obviously 2006 market was very good. So fortunately, I'll end up in a good organization, HCL. And the only other thing which I was very keen on, that I will only go for brand, right? So first and foremost, job, if you're leaving your say from forces, you're coming out, it is very important to get associated with the brand. Why I'm saying this? Because even startups are also very good nowadays. I'm talking about past. Why I'm saying this? Because once you get associated with brand, the amount of learning which you have, so the amount of learning which you get from a brand is very important, and it is humongous. So those were things which I was looking for. Or like I said, that a problem which I faced. One was this only, that I was not able to put the exact corporate jargon in my CV. Secondly, networking for me was an issue. Third, not much of information I was able to gather through say Google, or through my friends also. So really, I had to start from scratch only. So these were the things.
All right. Fair enough, but I'm so happy that you were able to overcome all these challenges, and here you are today, and helping each and every one of us, and helping veterans transition into the corporate life. So when you and I had a conversation, you talked about certain stereotypes which veterans are associated with, right? Like veterans are expected to join certain roles in the corporate sector, and you decided to break the stereotype and make your own path. So could you help us understand what did you mean by this?
So again, with due respect to those particular domains, also they are very good. I'm not saying that. So generally, ma'am, with veteran, what is associated with that, they are only good for administration or security only. But having said this, again, very good roles. one of the most important, I'll say, support function in any of the organization. But my aim was totally different. Probably because I did my MBA, so I had some idea about different verticals which an organization does have. So I always wanted to be in sales or in HR only. So why in HR? Probably because I did some certification, so I thought it is always good to meet people, and HR being a support function is really something which work very closely with the business in generating revenue also, and obviously making the career of people who are there in an organization. So this was something which I really wanted to break. I got an opportunity with one of the organization. The first opportunity which I got with an organization was in admin security only. So I refused to take that particular opportunity, and regretfully, I have told the organization that I'm only looking for the HR part. And I don't know, that time I was not even aware what to generally ask in the interview. So the gentleman who was there, he asked me the last question: "Do you have anything to ask?" I said, "Sir, I'm not very keen for the administration security part. Do you have anything HR? If you can interview me for that also." So he said, "Then why did you come for administration security role only?" I said, "Sir, that was the only role which was available as per the website. So I thought I should come and at least sit for the interview, understand whether I'll be able to give the interview or not. But I would really love to work in an organization in HR." So he was also shocked, and the HR person who was also sitting there, she was also shocked. And then she said, "Tu to meri naukari khana chahta hai." So I said, "No, ma'am, nothing like that." You know, like I said that my keenness is to be in HR only. So this was something which I really want to break, ma'am. And but again, with due respect to all the other functions which are there in an organization, because each and every function is like a pillar of strength in an organization. That's important. So many of the veterans, ma'am, that's the reason I said many of the veterans, they should. Sometimes what happens is that as a veteran, I know, okay, I'm good in sales, right? But I'm not getting a job in sales. Okay, for time being, let me go into the admin security or HR or say operations. But then what will happen is after some time you will not enjoy your role, because in back of your mind you wanted to be in sales only. So wait for some time. I know times are not good as of now. Probably after 6 months or 8 months, right? Time will definitely change, right? And it is a challenging time. So I think these particular months which are still there. So garner more knowledge, gain more something on sales, do some certification from good institutes, right? And this will really make you ready for your role as a sale. See, or say HR or administration or security, wherever you want to go. But do not join an organization right now just because you are getting this role only, but you don't want to be in there. So that is something very important, man.
Right. All right, that's perfectly put. You also have your own ventures, if I'm not wrong, right? You've started your own business now. So could you quickly help us understand what does your business do?
So I'm into security right now. I'm providing security services to a couple of the organizations, and along with this, I'm on the advisory board of one of the groups by the name of CityOps Group. And CityOps, they are into multiple business ventures. They are into HR. They are into sports. They have a sports complex at Greater Noida. Along with this, they are into facility management. So I take care of, as an advisor, I take care of their trading part, the HR trading part. Then the City House also have a uh, 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 military to corporate transition kind of vertical also, where we where we guide the veterans who are trying to come out of the armed forces. And basically what we do is that we are doing mentoring for them. This is what we do. Plus, like I said, we have a sports complex in Grenada, so we are organizing sports events, sports competitions over there. So again, I am on the advisory board for them. But my prime business, my venture is my own security agency.
Right, but you're a man of many talents and you're wearing multiple hats at this very moment. So I give you all the strength to take all of these different initiatives to the fullest and achieve as much as you can. Now, so Major Sumit shared a couple of photographs with us, and I'm going to go ahead and share all of these photographs with you. Again, I'm requesting any questions. If you have, please do post, because we are now coming to the end of the session. So while I share these photographs, you can help us understand your military experience, and if you can share a couple of stories during your training, that would be great.
So, training is something, ma'am. We've been. So I did my training in Officers Training Academy, Chennai. So this was in 2000, 2001. So the day you enter the academy, you have an apprehension in your mind that you're going to meet new friends and how the training is going to happen. Will it be more of a physical train or a mental torture or how would you go about it? Because somebody is good in physically, somebody good in physical things, somebody is good in academics. So training is a amalgamation of everything. You have to be you have to clear your physical test, you have to clear your academics, you have to clear your drill, everything you have to clear, and then only you get commissioned in the forces. And generally, what happens is anybody who's not able to clear the test, so the person is relegated for 6 months. So it is difficult to sustain yourself there for one day. So thinking that 6 months more you have to stay, so it really pushes you to do your best. And secondly, the kind of bonding which we develop during the training, ma'am, with the course mates. So it is like we've studied from first till 12th in our school, or the first till 15, I'll say, for in our school and colleges for first 15 years. The kind of bonding which I've developed with my army course mates, ma'am, this kind of bonding I still don't have with my schoolmates also, even though we are in touch. But those 9 months which we did the training, because we were there together. So we were working hard physically, mentally. We were there for each other. Your seniors don't let you to speak to your parents, your family members, and suddenly, if you say morning, you get up around 5 o'clock, you sleep at say 12 at the night, and suddenly if one of your seniors, if he feels very happy that he wants to come back and he wants to really take your happiness, so he will call you at 2 o'clock at night and he'll tell you, okay, now till 4 o'clock you have to stand in front of my bed only
Is
and
it?
make sure that before 5 o'clock you clear the washroom also. So all these things are there. Huh? So generally, and this is not only in junior term. The moment you go to senior term, you think that okay, now you are the boss of the academy, and now you'll give ragada to juniors, but you don't like you forget that your instructors are also there. So they are the super boss. So in senior term, the instructor used to take care of us, and junior term, the seniors will take care of us. But the best part is this only, ma'am, the kind of bonding in the team camaraderie which we develop with our course mates, because each one of us were there in the academy. We were holding each other's hand. There are so many competitions which were there. It was not that competition has to be won by Sunil Shubhar. It has to be won by my company. No, I was in Noshera company. So the competition has to be won by Noshera company. So all of us we used to go together. So it's been 19 years now, man. This day all of us are like, we were around 256 gentlemen cadets were there and lady cadets were there. Out of 256, I can say proudly that I'm still in touch with close to 230, right? And still we have our get-togethers. Still we have our family get-togethers or meetings and everything. And the first thing generally what comes after say couple of minutes is this only कि देख तू GC में ऐसा था, मैं तेरे को ऐसा रगड़ा किया था, हम लोगों ने हमारी कंपनी में ऐसा करा हुआ था, because of you I got Roger for my senior. In spite of after leaving the academy, it's been close to 20 years now, we still behave like gentlemen cadets only, ma'am. So this is something I think this is something very unique about the armed forces. The bonding, it will remain till say 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, till the time all of us we are alive.
All right. And I understood another thing. I think you're a team player, and I think a lot of veterans would inculcate that skill during their entire experience. Now, this is another skill which is directly translated into the corporate world, right?
Yeah,
The only trick is to word it correctly.
I think this is very important, man, because in our forces, what happens is that as an officer, when you join your battalion or your unit, so you're around 20, 21 year old only, right? And you have your company or your men you're commanding who are double of your age, but they see you as a leader.
Yeah.
They see, and double of age also and double of experience also, because you're a newly commissioned lieutenant, but that gentleman who's there as who's there in the company or the battery whom you're commanding, he must be there for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. So obviously they help you also to grow, but they see you as a leader, and this particular attribute is developed in the armed forces. I won't say in the armed forces only, but armed forces ensure that this attribute is much faster as compared to the corporate world, because you are as a leader, you are commanding the men who are double your age. You have to look after, you have to protect them. You have to you have to look after their comfortable also. You have to ensure that they get motivated all the time. So this is very important. So that team building comes naturally in the armed forces.
Right. So, are you able to view the photographs on the screen?
You ask me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I can.
so can you help us understand what are you doing in the second
Okay,
photograph?
so on the right side, ma'am, like I was telling you that I'm also on advisory board of City Hawks Pros Private Limited. So we keep on organizing sports events like cricket event, futsal event. We have an obstacle course over there. So any corporate who has some adventure streak can come there and can always look for that particular obstacle. So on the right side, if you see, so I'm basically I'm presenting a trophy to one of the gentleman who was from one of the corporates, and he I think was a man of series or man of the match. I don't remember right now, but this was last year, 2019.
All right. What about these photographs?
Okay, so left side, like I was telling you that we have an obstacle course, and on the background you can see the ground also, and the front ground is the obstacle course which we have. So I was trying to understand whether after say 19 years, if I can still do this obstacle or not. So fortunately, I was able to do that. Right. So and I told my friend to take the picture of this, and again he was a postmate only, and he took I think probably Jambujke, he took around 30-40 seconds to take this picture, so that thoda mera aur laga raha haath mein. So this is how the postmates behave, ma'am. Right, so this
Right.
is the obstacle course which we have.
Yeah.
So I was just trying that. On the right side, ma'am, top right is my father, ma'am. When he was the armed forces and he was there in one of the location, and he speak to his he was the 2IC of the 2IC is basically second in command of the unit. So he was a 2IC of his unit, and he's briefing his commanding officer on something. And on the right bottom, ma'am, when I got commissioned, and then we'd gone to one of the locations because of an operation which took place in 2001, the Operation Parakaram. So our entire unit was moved from our the present location, the parent location, to the other location. So then that picture was taken there. Man. So this is the okay, yeah. So that picture is taken when the bottom one is like I was telling you, one of the location where we moved during the opera program. This was in 2002.
All right. We have another one where I think everybody is enjoying
Yeah.
their.
So these are like band of brothers. This is from the academy, ma'am, and these are my postmates, right? And if you see on the left side, there's one gentleman who's trying to sneak into the picture.
Yeah.
So we were trying to ensure that he should not come in the picture, but nazar pattu hota hai ye picture mein. So he's the one. So these are my postmates, and this is just before our morning ritual, our morning breakfast we're having, ma'am. And I think immediately after that, this was in senior term, ma'am. So fortunately, in senior term, we were able to get time to have breakfast. Otherwise, our senior in our junior term, our senior always ensured that we should not have even our breakfast also.
Okay.
Right? So they were trying to just increase our stamina also on that. But having said this, they were good. They were very nice. And this is our best picture, ma'am. And this before leaving for our classes, ma'am, at academy.
All right. And here I think you're in Yes
Yeah.
Bank.
So this one is when I was with Yes Bank, I was heading the HR for North and East India for the retail banking, branch banking, and multinational corporate banking. So during one of my visit to Ludhiana branch, so I was taking a town hall session kind of thing. So because as a HR, it was imperative for me also to because branches. What happens is that if they are in locations where hardly anyone visits, so it was essential for me during any of the visit to tell the employee what is happening in the organization and to be transparent. So I always used to visit the branches which were I think on a very remote location also. So even though this is Ludhiana location, so this was not remote, but this is one of the cluster branches. So I used to travel to all the clusters also, and during town hall we used to tell them what is happening in the organization because Yes Bank was fairly a new organization 2012-13. So this is something which we're doing there only. Yeah. So and this is just to brief on this picture, ma'am, the one which you showed earlier. Okay, this also. Yeah. So it is very important for veterans to understand that suppose if they take any kind of role, so obviously they have to take care of the organization also, and but they have to be very transparent with the employees also. They should not hide anything from the employee. If something is going berserk also, if something is going good, they have to be informed. If something is going berserk, that also we have to inform. But make sure that it should not be kind of fear kind of thing that you're creating fear in the mind of employees. So as a team only, everybody has to work. So when anybody has done a good job, it is a team effort. If we are finding some difficulties, again, it is a team effort only to tell the organization and the employees also that okay, organization is in that particular state right now. So together we have to carry it forward. Together we have to work together for the next level. That's very important. So I used to do this regularly on the basis.
Right.
Again, this is again a town hall, ma'am, for one of the locations in I think Punjab only, Muktsar, I suppose. I don't recall right now, but the town hall which I was telling about, I was informing about certain policies. As a HR, it was very important for me to go there because whatever is written in the employee portal, sometimes it gets difficult for an employee to understand that. So whenever me or my team member we used to visit, so we used to we used to ensure that we used to take sessions on the HR policies, policies like POSH, policies like say employee reimbursements, anything and everything which is there in the employee policy, so that it is again for the employees also. It was a moment of opportunity that something for someone from the head office has come, whether it was me or my boss or my team members, and they used to have we used to have one-to-one interactions also with them. They can tell their grievances. We were able to solve them, or you can have such a town hall also. This is something what we used to do, man.
All right. So we have a couple of questions and let's directly jump into them. The first question is what HR policies would help in smoothing the transition of veterans to corporate life?
Great. So thank you so much for asking me this question. Right. So see the HR policies are to be very candid. See, there are few organizations which are working towards hiring veteran, and they have their own set of HR policies through which they hire veteran. But most of the organization, I'll be very candid with you, most of the organization does not have any HR policies which are only directed towards hiring veteran only, right? So when I say HR policies, first and foremost thing is this only, that you have to understand in which particular domain you have to go. Right. So there are no. If I talk about my experience, so I've not seen much of the organization which have some standard HR policies which they make through veteran hiring only. Only thing is that if any need is there, suppose any organization which wants that, okay, they have to hire say veterans for one particular their business unit, which is more of a technical kind of thing. So they generally make policy, okay, I'm going to hire from the Air Force, I'm going to hire from the Navy. It can be a junior warrant officer, it can be a NCO, it can be an officer with these kind of domain knowledge, these kind of technical acumen, these kind of technical skills. But there's no standard HR policies.
All right. There's another question in which the attendee is asking, what are few common challenges which anyone coming from the army background would face?
Yeah, so I think I've already answered this question. First is that the kind of whatever you're mentioning in your CV, it has to be as per the corporate parlance only. Second thing is you have to leave your baggage behind. Do not carry your 4G baggage with you. Yeah, I was an army officer, I was this, I was that. Whatever it is, that is behind. Third and foremost thing, you have to learn everything from scratch. Just to give example, when I joined HCL, so for me, HR was fairly new. What I used to do was that after the office hours, I used to read the employee files. I told my boss, he said, okay, 6:30 to 8:30, I'm going to read the employee files just to understand what kind of role they have, what kind of the career, the journey path they have taken, right? And what are their job or what kind of job they are doing. So it made me understand certain things which I could ask in the interview if I'm taking an interview on a candidate. So the challenge, like I said, is this only one, you have to leave the package. Second, make sure that your resume is what whatever you mention in resume should be able, the person should be able to understand it. The other person who's sitting there should be able to understand it. Third thing is never get bogged down by this thing that okay, 6 months I'm out of the force for 6 months, I'm not getting a job right now. You have to see the situation, you have to see the environment also. That's very important. So these are challenging which every veteran will face. Only thing is that from these challenges they should learn. They should not get bogged down at all. That's very important. And fourth, not a challenge, but like I said initially, only I said that networking is important. If you're a person which is not into more of a networking kind of thing, when I say networking, okay, Facebook is good, but professional networking is very important. So please go out, meet your friends. Please go out, meet your relative, and don't be shy in asking any kind of questions. It's very important. Don't feel shy कि अगर ये पूछूंगा तो I don't know whether what this person going to feel. Nothing like that. Your whatever queries you have, whatever things which you are whatever queries you have, then that need to be answered very well, because once they're answered, then only you will be able to move forward.
All right. So the last question for the evening, and before I read out the question, I would like to thank each attendee for sticking with us till now. It was really fun interacting with Major Sumit, and it was really, I'm really happy to see that his transition period he brought his own experience, and he was able to help multiple people. Now we're going to share this webinar on our social media handles. So here's an opportunity for you to share it with as many veterans as possible so that many more people can benefit from Major Sumit's experience. Also, as I mentioned during the start of the session, Inclusify is celebrating veterans' victories this month. This is the first session in the month. Every Wednesday, we're going to come live with an expert who has had tremendous experience helping veterans transition into the corporate life. So be sure to follow us on our social media handles for the latest updates. So the last question, and I'm going to jump right into it. Are there any specific programs which organizations can have to increase the inclusions of veterans in the workforce?
Ma'am, that depends upon organization to organization. If I have to name the organization, Amazon is one which is really working very. I think they're doing great jobs in hiring veterans through certain of the veteran hiring programs. Schneider is another organization. Yes Bank is again an organization which is really working on that. So what they should veterans they should do is that they should get hold of on the sites of these organizations, and I think they have something on the internship kind of thing also for the veterans. So they should definitely approach these organizations for internship and for the inclusion part also, and such organization will definitely support the veterans through 3 months or 6 months of internship program also, and subsequently they'll be able to make their own plans how they should take it forward.
All right. So once again, I would like to thank you for your time, and it was sincerely a lot of fun interacting with you. We hope that you have a beautiful evening ahead, and we hope that you keep on helping as many veterans as possible.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was really a pleasure to be on this particular platform. Looking forward for many more interactions. Thank you so much. Have a great evening. Thank you so much, all the participants. Thank you so much.